Okay. So this is my third time trying to do this podcast and or this episode at least. And I for the life of me, I can't do a planned script. All right. I can't do what other people are doing. There's so many video essays I watch where people are like clearly reading, but what they're reading is really good, right? Like people have script writers and all this other stuff. And I've just never really been that way. I just talk off the dome. And the moment I try to speak from a planned place, everything just kind of falls apart. So I'm just going to give it to you straight. And I really want this to be a free episode, a public episode, because I'm still figuring out how I want this podcast to be. For example, I can't do scripts. Like, I'm sure maybe one day I will do a script, but like, I'm not meant for scripts. Just being real. Anyway, but yeah, so we're just gonna go straight off the dome. Just gonna like kind of like talk about it. We're just me, you, and the camera. So, um, I had a realization today, and the realization is that I don't even know how to say it really quickly, and I don't want to say it in a way that makes what I have to say about other people because it's about myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I like myself. I like the way I dress. I like the way I carry myself. I like who I've become despite everything that I've been through. I like who I choose to be every day. I like I like who I am becoming. And it's because I'm actively working really hard to become a better person. I'm actively working really hard to better myself. And the older I get, the more I understand how bettering yourself, growing, all this other stuff, like it looks different. You know what I mean? Like it looks different at different stages in your life. And I guess what I'll focus on in today's episode, I guess I'll talk about it in this way of a lot of the issues that we have in our modern day society genuinely just comes from a lack of philosophical thinking, a lack of emotional awareness and understanding, specifically of the self, and also just the lack of space in a person's day to day life to build a sense of discipline and integrity, empathy, compassion, and care. And I'm not even talking about like other people, right? I'm talking about for yourself. Because, like I said, I don't know, because, like I said, this is like my third time recording. So if I'm like I said, and I never said it, that's why. But I think it was in this recording that I said this. But it's like, I only care about myself. And that's not to say that, like, I don't care about other people, because I do. But it's like, when I say I only care about myself in this context, in this episode, it's because I'm like, I give up. Right? Like, especially, I hope one day, like, I pray, and I don't even pray, but I'm hoping that, like, if you're watching this, you know who the fuck you are. Like, you people, you know who you are. If you're watching this, like, I don't want an apology. I don't want anything to do with you. I don't even think I fucking like you. Like, it's just like, dude, like, I I have spent so much of my life trying to be somebody that my parents could be proud of. And that evolved into becoming an adult that felt like, in order to feel value, to feel worth, that like people have to respect me and like me and care about me and love me. And more importantly, they have to decide to do that, right? Like they have to actively care. But I'm 30 years old now as of this summer. It's August. I'm a July baby. I'm a Cancer. Shout out to all the Cancers. We are the best sign. Anyway, but it's like I I don't know, like I just recently realized in a little over a month since I've been 30 that I have to be good enough for myself. And I hate saying shit like that because I'm sure we've all heard this sentence before. I'm not trying to say something that you can just retweet, right? Like, because that's the problem. A lot of us have been inundated with these ideas that we've never really had the time to understand or experience in reality. So there are going to be some sentences I say that I'm pissed about saying it because I'm like, no, we have devalued the meaning and power of a lot of these phrases and a lot of these words. And that I hope in this episode, I hope it's not going to be too long. I just want to like 30 minutes, get straight to the point, you know what I mean? But to explain, like, in life, right? Like, God, I don't want to start off like that. I feel insecure. That's why I'm like this. If you've ever met me in real life, you know I just be like, "Ah," but like having a camera, I'm like, oh my god. Anyway, but damn, stage fright. No, but anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this up because I don't want to say in life. Like I want to be specific. I want to stop being so general because those words don't really have value anymore. Like I just said, so I want to be specific. There was this zine that I submitted my work to. And I don't want to get too deep about these people personally, but I think this is a perfect way of explaining what I'm going to talk about on a larger scale. These people were rude to me when I went to go see the Knicks game with them. I don't know why. And to be quite frank, I don't fucking care why. Don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. And for most of my life, I needed to understand why. What was I doing wrong? Why don't these people like me? And one of the most frustrating things about like trying to be vulnerable or open up to people about feeling these sort of things. I'm not even talking about the people you feel this way towards, but just trying to talk to people about your insecurities and stuff. And a lot of the times, like people are fucking assholes. Like people are not respectful. Like I don't use the word respectful. Again, I want to be more specific. People don't know how to carry emotional vulnerability. Again, I don't want to talk about other people's. People don't even know how to hold their own emotional vulnerability. And the reason why it's important to understand how to hold your own emotional vulnerability is not for other people, but for yourself, right? Like these people, I don't know. And like I said, I don't care. Like I don't care because I've racked my head around this for like over about 2 months now. It's embarrassing. Like at this point, like it embarrasses me. I'm embarrassed that I cared about these people. I'm embarrassed that I was so affected by their behavior and how it made me feel. And more than importantly, like the decision that I had to make after feeling all this is the fact that I'm not going to change myself. Like, I care and I'm hurt by their behavior, regardless of why they treated me in whatever ways that they did. It's because I want to be their friend. It's just that simple. It's just that pure. Like, I want to be their friend. I was like, yo, like, y'all are doing some cool things. I'm trying to do some cool things. And I would love for us to, like, know each other and, like, build together, right? Like, I want to build a community, right? I don't know why, but maybe I just tried too hard. That's the verdict that I'm at. That's the verdict I'm gonna stay at. Cause like I said, I don't care. Like I don't. And I know some people might listen to like, well, if you don't care, where, and I'm like, no, no, no. I don't care about them specifically anymore. But what I do care about is how I feel, which is why I'm talking about this. And again, breaking this down, because what I've experienced in my real life is the fact that talking to people a lot of the times just feels like you're talking to a brick wall. And people will say, "Oh, why are you over explaining?" Or and I'm a yapper too. So people are like, "Why are you talking so much? Like, why are you?" And like, I do that, and I'm explaining myself right now. This episode's probably going to be like, "Let me explain myself," because it's like, bitch, I got something I want to fucking say. If you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to. But one thing I've realized, I bring up the Knicks game example with that because I'm like, bitch, don't invite people places if you don't fucking like them. Like, you're not a child. And these are the same sort of people, and I feel bad honing in on these people because I don't even really know them. But it was this experience that really had me thinking all summer, right? About like the environments that I put myself in, why I'm putting myself in those environments. And like these are people that I looked up to. I won't ever look up to them again. No offense. Like they could become the most successful human beings in the world. And there's just a level of respect that was lost for them that I can't imagine ever getting back because I don't want to. Like it's like And I'm gonna say something too, because it's like, even as I speak to you, all these insecure thoughts are coming up. And these are coming from people I've met in my life, people I've known, right? Where it's like, who cares what you think? Who cares about your standard? Who cares what these people think? Who cares about how they make you feel? Like, all this language of like, we should not care about other people, and we should not care about how other people make us feel. And I'm like, this is why the world sucks. Because we should care. Why the fuck would we not care? Like, that will not ever make sense to me. Because it doesn't make sense. I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson's like um, YouTube channel earlier today, Star Talk, right? I think is what the channel is called. And he mentioned this like Albert Einstein quote in this one episode I was watching. And basically it was like, Einstein had said to his haters that you wouldn't need 100 reasons to prove me wrong if I'm wrong. You'd only need one, right? And this is something I'm gonna carry with myself forever, because with these people, I'm using this as an example and I'm kind of embarrassed about it. Because for all I know, it's probably not that deep. Maybe they were rude to me, they were like whatever, and it's just not that deep. But like, it is that deep to me. And I'm not asking them to care, right? I have to understand that I have to care. And if there's anything that I want to share with people from this episode, I'm like, dude, it's okay to care about your feelings. In fact, I don't think it's respectful, admirable, or even fucking serious if somebody's like, you need to act unbothered. You need to act like you don't care. Are you 12? Caring is a part of your existence. So you can understand where you're at, what you care about, what you like, what your boundaries are, what they are not, how you've evolved, what matters. And what I mean by what matters, like, because you'll remember how these things made you feel. And you'll look back and you'll be like, damn, that was a great memory. That was a great experience. Because, like, it made me feel great. It made me feel good, right? When you look back on your life and something's awful or painful or shitty, like, you remember that because of how it made you feel. Our feelings exist for valid reasons. And this fucked up philosophy that people don't realize, it's a fucking philosophy that a lot of people have adapted because of US imperialism, number one. I'm going to say that. Because I feel like it's as widespread as it is, not because of the US, but the US is soft power, it's media, all this stuff. Ironically, even though you watch a lot of, especially old American media, it seems like it's trying to teach you empathy, but it's not. It teaches our side versus the other, which again, I feel like people confuse with empathy, right? Like, I think a lot of people, like, I've met some of the most hateful people, right? Like, some of the most hateful human beings, and they swear they're empathetic because they empathize with their hatred and other people who share their hatred and their fear and their anxiety. But they don't empathize with a stranger, and they don't care to, because in their mind, this stranger is an enemy. You don't empathize with the enemy, you protect yourself against the enemy. If you show vulnerability, if you show integrity, if you show care, they're not going to appreciate that. That's what makes them the enemy. Anyway, so that's why I'm going to put the fault here in this specific episode about what we're specifically talking about. I'm going to put that on the US. Soft power, specifically. US imperialism's soft power approach, right? Anyway, but it did not begin there and it doesn't end there. But I would say you can trace a lot of what I'm talking about in this episode in that. And the thing is, and why I bring up the philosophy aspect of it all, is because human beings are thinkers. Like, we may not all think to the same standard, we may not all think the same amount, we may not think about the same thing, but we don't think. People are going to think. People are going to talk, people are going to connect. That's what they're going to do, because it's part of our genetic makeup. It's a part of our species. I mean, I'm not a biologist. I don't know if it's our genetic makeup necessarily that makes us social creatures, but I do know that we feel things. And because we feel things, not we feel things, I know that because we think things, and we're so sorry. I don't even know what the fuck I was trying to say there. I was on autopilot for a moment, but I'm saying, when I'm saying, like, we have to share something. We have to communicate something. And it starts with thought. We think about saying it and then we decide to say it, right? But I think what a lot of people may not understand or realize about the human species is that before we really thought about things the way that we do, and we only think about things the way that we do because of all the human beings that came before us and implemented that sort of strategy and structure for us to do so in the first place, human beings kind of reacted without much thought, right? Like our thoughts is supposed to help us connect our external world with our internal one. But that internal world isn't just your thoughts, it's literally how you react to the world around you and that pattern, right? Personality. Like, no, even if you never thought, even if you didn't really think about your actions, you're still a person that has needs, that has wants that are different from others. Like, yeah, you need to eat, you need to drink water, you need to socialize with people, but what you like to eat, how you like your water, who you want to socialize with, like that is you. And that's not something you're just born with and die with. The life that you live will change you. I love Moana. What she said, the things you have learned will change you. The things you have learned will guide you. No, the people you have, if you know, you know. The things you have learned, the things I have learned will guide you. Anyway, but like I got that one line right. I just can't remember the other lines around it. But anyway, so um that's life. And talking about that is philosophy. Right? And I bring this up because I'm like, no, like we will die. Like our species will stop existing if we do not become more philosophical, if we do not focus on philosophical thought. Like at this point, it is becoming dire. It is so frustrating to me as an emotional person, as a sensitive person, as somebody that loves philosophical thinking, to meet most people and then sit there and tell you their biggest issues, tell you their biggest problems. And I'm not talking about just individuals. I mean, even turning on the TV and being like, why is society like this? Why is the world like this? Like, people are legitimately asking that. And I'm like, girl, you literally calling for the death of innocent children. Like, what type of world do you think we live in? What type of person do you think you are? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. And that's an extreme reaction, but it's not an extreme reaction because that's the thing. We need to call a spade a spade. Going back to philosophical thinking, right? It was philosophical thought that led me to understanding that 2016 wasn't the beginning of fake news. Fake news is like a part of being a human being, right? It's a part of life. And what I mean by it's a part of being a human being, it's a part of life. I'm like, there are a lot of things that human beings believe to be true that have not ever been true. But like for millennia, people believe it. Like, what's a good example? I don't know if this is a millennia old, but I do know a good example is something that's centuries old, is the misunderstanding of Chinese philosophy. People know yin and yang, people know Taoism or Taoism, depending on how you want to pronounce it, but a lot of people don't actually know or understand the real philosophy behind those two things, for example. Because one, it requires you to understand, I'm assuming Mandarin. I think it's Mandarin. Ancient Chinese language. You'll say that because I don't know if it's Mandarin or Cantonese. Like I don't, or something else entirely. But but you would have to understand their language first of all in order to understand the literal philosophy behind these two things, right? Then afterwards, because if you know anything about translation, there's no such thing as a perfect translation, right? It's just a matter of being a good translator and understanding and being able to deduce and assess what is most important and how to express that importance. So I say all this to say that since human beings have been able to communicate, we have misunderstood things. It's a part of why we have a brain so we can figure things out because there are going to be things in our lives that we will never know or understand, but we still have to navigate it. Like whether or not God is real, let's be honest, is low-key irrelevant. Sorry. Just because you still got to live anyway and you got to decide how you're going to live. regardless of whether or not you believe in God or not, right? So I mention all of this because it's like we need philosophical thought. Because I like to think philosophically, and I've just kind of reached this point where like it takes a lot of vulnerability to think philosophically. And a lot of people don't relate to that. A lot of people don't understand that. I spent a good portion of my life trying to understand my life, understand the world around me, understand who I am as a person. And most people shit on that because, like, to really sit there and think about it, to live in confusion, to live in the unknown takes courage, takes power, takes vulnerability, takes strength. Something most people just simply don't have. They do about certain things, but not about everything. And it matters because when I look at the world around us, so many things would be better if people just had the courage to struggle, to fail, to look bad, to look stupid. Because you are. You're ignorant, you're stupid. That's part of being a person. Like no one's born knowing things. No one's born wise. No one's born like I know people say like old souls, and I'm like I get that. But as somebody who was told her entire childhood that she had an old soul, for most of my 20s, I felt like a fucking idiot because I was. I didn't know any better. I was very sheltered. And yeah, you can call that ignorance, but there were just some things where I'm sorry, I look back on, I'm like, no, that was stupidity, and that's okay. That's okay. My mom looks back at some things in her life and she's like, no, that was stupidity. And I remember at first I'd be like, no, like you were just young. She's like, no, no, because if you really just think about it, like not everybody had to learn the hard way to figure something out. But I say this to say that like us as human beings, like we're not just smart, we're not just stupid. We're not just what we are in this one moment. We are a collection of things, our memories, our feelings, our thoughts, our patterns, our experiences. We're not easily defined. That's why I think the only way to really define a human being, besides how they want to define themselves, is genuinely by like defining us as a species. But like you're talking to a whole education advocate, like that's my bread and butter. Like some people be that is where I live and die. Like education will set us free. Okay. Anyway, but um but yeah, anyway, I think I've pretty much said everything I've had to say so far. But yeah, I don't know. I just implore you to think about your life. And the thing is, like, it's easier said than done because I'm like, no, a lot of y'all are living unsustainable lives. And that's why you're a fucking asshole without any real community. Because I've also am guilty of this. I want everything I'm saying, I want y'all to know. I'm speaking about myself, but I'm also seeing it reflected in other people who remind me of me prior. And like one of the things that made me want to record this episode today is having to make the decision of having like a low tolerance to just certain behaviors and certain things where I'm like I said, with the whole Nick situation that I went through. If I were to ever see these people again, hopefully it won't be anytime soon. Because again, like I've thought about it so much at this point that I'm just kind of like, I just want to break. I kind of want to just forget any of that even happened. Um, but it's like, wait, why did I bring that up? Because I remember the point I was trying to make, but I forgot how I was going to make the point. Because what I was going to say is that, like, oh, fuck, I can't remember. That sucks. And like I said, I do off the dome. This is not going to be edited. Sorry. If you ever catch my videos edited, it's because I have an editor. Anyway, but yeah, I don't remember, but I basically the point that I was trying to make with that is it's like I'm not trying to like shit on them. Like they're probably stressed out. Like I said, I looked up to them. I admired them because like they were doing things. They were getting things done and I know it's not easy. Oh, that's what I was talking about. Like I know it's not easy. I know they're probably stressed out. They're probably figuring things out. Like they're working their asses off right now and I wanted to be a part of that. And I understand if there's no room for me, right? Like I really want to stress this because one thing I go through a lot is I will be upset by how people go about things And again, this is why I think philosophical thought matters, reflection of the self is important here too, introspection. Because a lot of the times, and I don't know if I think it can be intentional, I think it can also like not be intentional, but I think a lot of the times internally, and I've been guilty of this as well. Obviously, everything I'm saying, I'm speaking from experience because not everyone can relate to everything I'm saying. Just if you can't relate, if you can't relate, you're not offended. If you can relate, I mean, if you're offended, you can relate. Just saying. Anyway, but fuck. Okay. I'm never beating the ADHD allegations, and I don't ever want to take pills for it. I'm sorry, y'all. Anyway, but and one day we should talk about that. I'm gonna write that in my notes. One day I want to have an ADHD episode, not because I want to talk about ADHD that much, but I just want to talk about like my own personal goals and hopes with my undiagnosed ADHD. It'll probably stay undiagnosed, and even if it gets diagnosed, I'm not taking pills. I'm just letting y'all know. But we'll get into that another time because that's like a controversial thing. But I think if you really heard me, it wouldn't be that controversial. Anyway, what episode? Anyway, yeah. So with these ladies, it's like I know they're going through a lot. Whatever, blah blah blah. It is what it is. I don't care for an apology. I want to forget it ever happened because I'm like, I don't want to feel like these people are that important. Like to me, them being important, me wanting to be friends with them, like that was me sharing my love to be emotionally, like I don't know if that makes sense, and I hope to those that make it makes sense too, that like you can feel me here, but it's like this is really normal. You like somebody, you're like, I want to open up to you, like I want to open up to you so that we can open up together and we could like be mutual, whatever. And I remember what I was saying before where it's like they didn't have to return that to me, right? And one thing I go through a lot, and I cannot fucking stand this, and if you like astrology, people say this about cancers, right? Like, yeah, you're gonna see my fucking emotion, bitch. Like, like, sorry, I'm letting y'all know. Like, yeah, like you're gonna know how I feel. You're gonna know how I feel. The same way you're allowed to not want to fuck with me, you're allowed to not want to. Bitch, I'm gonna show how I feel. I'm expressive. If I'm not happy, bitch, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be happy. Also, that's really traumatic for me. You don't know my childhood. Fuck you. Like, no. But the same way, like I'm gonna do this for myself for my own reasons. Like if you don't like somebody, if you don't fuck with something, it is so important to just. And I'm getting a little too specific about the situation because I don't want to like sit here and be like, if you don't like somebody, like whatever, just tell them because duh. But I don't really want to focus too much on that specific situation because this is something I'm just using them as an example, but this is actually something that I've been dealing with like throughout the summer. And anyway, but it's just like, I don't know. I think because the ultimate, okay, just in case people are like kind of confused about, because we're going to end this now, but I really kind of want to put it all together, like why I think everything I've said is so important. But I'm like, if you really want the world to be a better place, like this is why I did this episode, like if you want the world to be a better place, like just practice philosophy. Read a fucking philosophy book, practice philosophy, and apply it to yourself, not the world, not other people. Apply it to yourself. Like open up a philosophical book, whether it's a fictional book, whether it's nonfiction from a philosopher or a non-philosopher, but like sit outside and think about who the fuck you are and what you want from this life. Because it is so normal for us to be so dehumanizing towards ourselves and others that we can't see what's so clearly obvious. The world is as hurtful, as suckish as it is because we don't fucking care about ourselves. And that sentence can be applied to us as a collective and us as individuals. Because I'm sick and tired of meeting people who clearly don't care about the world that they live in. They don't care about other people. They don't care about themselves. They don't know how to. And they'll be the main ones talking about the world. They'll be the main ones picking on other people, bullying other people, treating other people like shit. And what I hate too is that, like, because of the internet and this abundance of thought without roots, people just use a bunch of random ass sentences that have nothing to do with what they're talking about to justify their actions, which are not justifiable. Like the fact that we live in a world where you can't express to people like why being disrespectful is wrong. Like, I don't know, because I don't know who's going to find this. I don't know who's going to listen to this, but we live in a world where people don't think being disrespectful is wrong. Like, that is a debate. It's not debatable. Not everybody deserves your respect, but that's not the same as being respectful is wrong. Because it's like, it's a give and take. So, like, if you're traumatized, right? Like, if something's going on that's making you, for example, not be respectful towards other people you don't actually know, or even just towards yourself, like, be curious about that. Ask yourself about that. Because a lot of people that I've met this summer, especially, need to look within their fucking selves. Because I will call you out. That's why they don't talk to me about it. I will put the mirror up to your fucking face. You know why? Because I live in front of my mirror. And once you've learned how to do that, you become a different person. And that doesn't mean you become a perfect person, but it's like, I'm not afraid to look at myself in the mirror and cry. I'm not afraid to look at myself in the mirror and be like, you know what? I'm really heartbroken about this. I'm not afraid to look at myself in the mirror and be like, bitch, you're fucking dumb. Because that is not a verdict of my spirit, of my soul, of my capabilities. That is just a thought. And it's a thought that can help and lead me towards something more. Whether just being more comfortable with myself, questioning why I think I'm an idiot, or just building the confidence to be like, yeah, I'm a fucking idiot and I love myself anyway. Because if I got me, fuck these bitches. But I don't know if I'm making sense. Still working on this podcast, still trying to figure out how I'm going to say things and everything. But I do hope this makes sense. And I hope one day that a lot of the people who I've blocked, and I wanted to actually do a quick anecdote about, like, this is going to be our closing story. So I block people. I'm a blocker. You gonna get blocked. Fuck you. And I've met so many people this summer specifically, and they're all the same. But I've met so many people this summer specifically. They're like, oh my God, don't show that you're bothered. Don't show that you care. And I'm like, oh my God, please get people like this away from me. To me, that's the most high school shit ever. I'm like, is having emotions a bad thing? You know that they have like a reason for existing, right? Like, they're called instincts, right? Not to say all feelings are instincts, but your instincts also speak to you through your feelings. Like, feelings have a very very practical purpose here, but okay, whatever, do your thing. Anyway, but the story I want to share, because I've been thinking about this a lot. This is embarrassing. I'm going to be embarrassing myself with this story. But when I was in high school, there was this girl. She was like, I think, a freshman when I was a junior. Yeah. And her name was Abigail. People called her Abby. I did not know her personally, but when I was in high school, I was like obsessed with like popular kids, in the sense where like I wanted to be popular. I would always like look them up and like when I say look them up, I'm embarrassing myself, but I don't mean like research them. But like it was Instagram. This is when Instagram was like the first years. Like Instagram came out when I was like 13, all right? So like I'd be like looking people up, seeing what they're doing, like all this other stuff, looking at their outfits. Like I was never really obsessed with celebrities. I was more so obsessed with like the cool girls that I grew up with, right? Whether or not they knew I existed, irrelevant. But I was obsessed with that, where I was like, oh, they're so cool, whatever, all this stuff. And honestly, the best way I can describe it, because those same cool girls were obsessed with celebrities, and I didn't feel that way about the celebrities, but I felt that way about them, right? Anyway, but there's this girl named Abigail, and I didn't really know her. She wasn't in my grade, so I never got to know her. But she was super popular, like to the point where even I knew who she was, even though I don't know her, right? Like I knew of her. And she got so popular to the point where she just started blocking people all the time. And I know this because this is back during, I think, like Ask FM era. So like she had an Ask FM. So I remember that because I followed her on Twitter and then she had blocked me. I don't know why. Okay. But I think I still had her on like Facebook or something, or Instagram or something. Like I think it was like like something. I think it was Instagram, not Facebook. And she had an Ask FM, and eventually I like asked her after like I think it was like months, because I didn't know this girl for real. Like I think engaged with her once in my life. And I asked her in the Ask FM, I was like, yeah, like I don't really know you at all, but you like blocked me, and I don't know why. And, she was like, oh my god, like tell me why. Like, she unblocked me, she apologized, it was super cool. But I always reflect on that, right? Because I was like 16 when that happened, maybe 16, 17. I think I was a junior. And I reflect on that a lot because I'm a blocker. And I'm a blocker. A lot of people like to judge that, and I don't respect that either. I'm letting you know that. If you judge people for blocking, I don't respect you like that. Like I'm not saying I don't respect you at all, but I'm just saying you're one of those. Okay. But like but it's like you like a lot of people block because they're in distress. And I think it says a lot about somebody's emotional intelligence if they can't understand that, or can't empathize, or, you know, relate or understand that. You know what I mean? Like really empathize or have compassion towards that. Anyway, anyway, so I block people a lot, and I'll probably always be that way. Maybe not forever. Maybe when I'm like 45, I will get over a lot of my traumas. But it's like after you've had people lie to you for years. Like I'm not gonna list anything out. She was really popular. I knew about her. So many people knew about her. And so many people didn't want to be friends with her. So many people just wanted to have something to say about her, including myself. And I think about this a lot because even though I didn't have much to say about her, I didn't want to like talk poorly about her, but I just wanted to be a part of it, right? Because she shined bright. I think that's proper English. But like she shined. She shone? Anyway, she shined. And like a moth to a flame, she was the flame. Again, I don't want to I really want to like emphasize I did not talk to her that much. I wasn't like obsessed with her or anything like that. But I just mention this because I feel like that's what I'm going through a lot. And I hope one day I reach a point where people like say to me like, "Hey, you blocked me and I don't know why." So that I can like kind of have this full circle moment of like meetings, because I had nothing against her, but I'll be honest, when she blocked me as a stranger, it did make me pause, made me think about myself. Really did. And it made me think about, did I do something? And so eventually when she unblocked me, after like that time of just like obviously seeing things differently, looking at things differently, I became much more empathetic towards her, right? Because she was really popular, had a lot of things going on, and people were just always talking shit about her. Like people were just always on her case. And I'm like, and to this day, I remember since graduation, like some people like make fun of her, and I'm like, girl, you're just jealous. Like, what has she actually done to anybody? And that's just what I'm bringing up because a lot of the jealous people ruin it for everyone. And most people are jealous people. Like most people are everything that's wrong with the world. And the fact that people like to pretend or act like that isn't true is the problem. And the way to move forward from this problem, to resolve this problem, is to look at yourself and your behavior and to be honest with yourself about your behavior. Because after that, by then I changed. I became much more mindful about people's humanity and their and things like that. And obviously it's so much more than just this little story, but like that's why that story is so important to me, why I remember it. And I've tried so many times throughout my 20s to explain this realization to people, but they just don't get it. They're just like, "Oh, you think you're really popular?" It's like, Jesus Christ, are you dumb? Yes. Anyway, anyway, but yeah, I don't know. Just think about yourself more. Like you're worthy of being thought about. And I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about yourself. Like, think about yourself. Think about your life. Think about why you are the way that you are. Think about why you react to things the way that you do. I promise you, at the end of that journey is self love, true self love, because you'll actually get to know yourself. And then you can pick relationships that actually work well for you. Pick careers that work well for you. Pick a life that's meant and built for you. Think about it. I know it sounds like a dream, but it sounds like a dream because we live in a society, in a world that makes us feel like only the outside world can give us what we're craving, which is that importance, integrity. I can't even put into a word, but just to feel fulfilled. And fulfillment isn't something you feel once and that's it. It's something you constantly add to. Like, think about what fulfillment actually is. Think about the word itself, filling something up. Keep filling yourself up. Not with this bullshit, but with your self understanding. Be the love that you wish you had in your life towards yourself. Trust me, doesn't make life easier, but it makes life worth it. And I fear that most people have forgotten the reason why life was ever worth it to begin with. And that's not just an external thing, it's an internal thing as well. I love you.